warm summer's evening, standing on the mound. The ballpark's full of cheering crowd. Home team's back in town with all pitches.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Painting Corners Baseball Podcast. I'm your co-host, Johnny C. As always, joined by Aiden Smith, Kyle Tucker to the Dodgers, scheduled tweet alert, Gavin Lux, switching hands to the Rays, Halo's making deals, but what are we really talking about? Rangers Suarez in the Boston pivot, can't lock up Ellie, and Bo Bichette finds a home in Flushing. Good evening, Aiden. How are you doing this week?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Pretty well. I got to get you on full screen. Oh, you're screen sharing the pod prep. I see.
I'm screen sharing the prep.
A studious man.
We're trying. Yeah, I got to have my notes on Ha-Seong Kim's hand injury, slipping on ice in South Korea. It's critical information, and, I want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah, maybe I edit this out in post, but I don't want to be that guy. But I may be speaking as the Greek chorus for our fellow listeners. So in the hope I'm being of service, without further ado, I'll say I get really confused when I hear the name Ha-Seong Kim because it feels like there's 40 of them and there's different ones.
Well,
and
there's
go ahead.
There's Hye-Seong Kim.
Okay.
And then there's Ha-Seong Kim.
Okay. There's Byung-Young Kim. And
yeah, there is. I mean, he's not really relevant anymore, but
he came up
true.
in my in my scrolling this week of MLB.com. It was like Byung-Young Kim, ex-Red Sox, submariner, opened a German sausage restaurant in Korea. And I was like, all right, that's cool.
That sounds pretty cool, actually. I might have to check that sausage place out.
Can you please give us the lowdown then, the good people of the baseball world, the line between the Kims? What's going up with Ha-Seong and the Braves? It looks like a pretty big something had a hand in it.
So first of all, to cover this, Kim is like, Smith or Jones in Korea. And the hyphenated names are pretty common, obviously. We have Shin-Soo Choo, a lot of the Korean players that have come over. But yeah, so Ha-Seong Kim, the Korean prince, came over on that team-friendly Padres deal. I think it was $428, and he was hurt all year, or for a lot of the year in Tampa. Gets traded to Atlanta at the deadline. He impressed them enough to get that 1 year, $20 million deal, only to slip on the ice and suffer a torn tendon in that right middle finger.
Wow.
So, we're probably looking at, I don't know, May, where he'll be back, but they desperately needed a shortstop, so it's still a nice move, but $20 million for 4 months of Ha-Seong Kim is a little tough.
Yeah, I remember Ha-Seong Kim of the Padres was an incredible defenseman up the middle and fun to watch. I just hadn't really been tracking his movements throughout the league. That stinks for the Braves. I feel like the Braves have had a weird, pardon me, I'm still getting over this. I'll be voice cracking all night. I've got sawdust in my lungs from the shed work I've been doing. Bob the Builder over here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the Braves have had a weird fall from grace where in 21 they win the series without Acuna. They get Acuna back. Acuna's a monster. They lose Acuna again. He comes back half the season and just hits so many bombs. You're like, how does he do it? And I think Olsen fell off a cliff and underperformed. All these things happen, and you're just like, and then you lose Fried to the Yankees, and you kind of nip at the edges of Strider's injured. And there's all these excuses we can make, like a little underperformance here, losing some pitching, Acuna goes down by knee again. But like, what are we looking at when we look at the Braves franchise? They need to be healthy. We're missing a piece. What's your take on that?
Well, Anthopoulos is still one of the better executives in the league. But you got to remember that when they won the Fall Classic at the end of 21, they lost Freddie immediately. Freddie walked, and from most accounts, it sounds like Freddie was willing to stay and wanted to stay. It sounds like the Braves front office and probably ownership had other plans, and they had their eye on Matt Olson, so they wanted to move on, presumably. And then the following year, they lost Dansby Swanson,
Right.
and Dansby got paid in Chicago.
Yep. Big
Uh,
time.
and then you have the Acuna injury. Spencer Strider has also regressed pretty seriously from his more dominant moments. But yeah, a lot of it's been injuries. Ozzy Albies has regressed. Michael Harris had that big year and hasn't really gotten back to what he was. He had the 1-4 F4 last year. Albies 1-3 F4 last year. Austin Riley's regressed a lot,
Right.
1-7 F4 last year. And I mean, they've had a couple, you could say unexpected performances that actually buoyed this club to be better than it could have been, honestly. I mean, Reynaldo Lopez,
Yes.
Schwellenbach, Chris Sale winning the Cy Young, Drake Baldwin winning Rookie of the Year. I'm talking over the last 2 years or so. But those are performances that we weren't really expecting, right? I mean, were we thinking Chris Sale was going to win the Cy Young at 35 years old? Were we thinking Drake Baldwin was going to win Rookie of the Year? I mean, it was a possibility, but we certainly weren't banking on it, right?
I was thinking he was going to win the Cy Young because once he left the Red Sox, you knew he was going to get healthy. Slider's going to come
Yeah,
back, and
yeah.
if JV can do it at age 40 in Houston, anything can happen.
Well, and Sale's been excellent back-to-back years. I mean, he only threw 125 this past season. But he's had an ERA under 2.6 now, back-to-back years after struggling quite a bit in Boston since he had that incredible run in 2018 when he had that 2.11 ERA over 158 innings. Walked under two guys per nine, 13.5 K per nine. I mean, he was just awesome. In 2017, he was awesome, and then the
Yeah,
injuries
it's amazing.
started to hit. But
So the Braves are making some moves. Um, they also pulled another Padre over, I believe. Robert
Suarez.
Suarez. Yeah. He was an interesting little back of the bullpen surprise for the Padres. The dads have this ability, as all good dads do, to take pitchers and revive them in the bullpen. And then they ship them off and then they become starters elsewhere. Um, so we'll see what happens with Suarez. I think he's going to stay in the bullpen, but
Well, and what's interesting about dads, if we're gonna continue with this here, dads find discounts and coupons, right?
oh
And
man, let's go.
and so where I'm going here is, Preller is a master at the international markets. So, Hassan Kim, 4-year, $28 million contract, that ended up being a huge win for San Diego. And they've done well with Yu Darvish. I know that they didn't bring him from Japan, but they did bring Suarez back from Japan when he was on the Hanshin Tigers, and he was spectacular for the Padres. Really, I mean, for what he was supposed to be, a 2.91 ERA over 4 years, closer for the team. Saved 40 games last year. When you bring a reliever over from Japan, you don't really know what you're going to get, right? But he's been a stud.
The discount dads do. They know what they're going to get.
They do, they do. Yeah. Speaking of dads and sons, let's talk Bo Bichette.
Hmm.
So Bo's going to hit third, presumably.
Lindor leadoff. Soto second.
Soto
Bichette
too.
third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Polo cleanup.
Polo.
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 Marcus fifth. I'm just going with what Fangraphs has. Beatty sixth, DHing. I don't think
Hmm.
that's going to stay that way. I think Beatty's going to replace Jeff McNeil and what he was doing, is what I've read. I saw that Will Salmon of the Athletic said that, and I think he's probably right. Francisco Alvarez seven, Carson Bench eight. Don't know if that will stay that way either. and then Tyrone Taylor hitting ninth and playing center field.
Hmm.
The DH spot is probably up for grabs. I presume they're going to bring in someone affordable
That's
to
cool.
compete.
Would you mind stop screen sharing so I can see your beautiful face?
Sure.
Thank you. Ah, so
That,
much better.
is that better? Okay.
Yeah, the chaos, the cortisol is just like, just flooding,
The
just bleeding out of me.
cortisol is
It's
through the
gone.
roof,
It's
and in the
gone now.
21st century, we don't need any more cortisol
You
than
heard
we
it
are.
here first, folks. This is an oxytocin only baseball media podcast. We give hugs. Bo Bichette, son of Dante Bichette, cousin of Bo Buffett, as we've covered in previous podcast episodes, is no longer a J. That's weird. I was watching, sitting with my buddy. He was getting a drink. I was getting me a little Diet Coke. And we were watching the World Series, and I remember when Bo Bichette came up and he hit that 3-run bomb, and I about lost it. And thank God he did, because his freaking kneecap was broken, and he couldn't he couldn't
It
leg out a
felt,
single.
at the time though, it felt like that was the hit,
It felt like that was
right?
the hit. I was like, oh, the World Series is won. This is awesome. Go
Yeah.
Jays. Yeah, that was a really cool moment.
Arguably
R.I.P.
should have been, but also, I mean, in a game seven where, you're up 1 run, it's like anything can happen. But I will say I called the fact that the Toronto bullpen was going to bite them, and it ended up biting them in game seven in the ninth inning.
Big league, big time.
Big
So
league.
Bo goes to the Mets instead of being a buy one get one free BOGO. It's just BOGO goes to the Mets, and they just buy one get one Bo. So to put a
Yep.
bow on this, let me say, I think it's kind of a panic buy for the Mets, but I guess maybe Stearns was playing chess a while back and let McNeil go because he's like, I'm gonna fill the hole here, right? But okay, we've been talking in prior episodes about how it feels like Cohen is kind of guiding Stearns to salary dump as much as possible and do these odd moves of bringing an aged Simeon over and let's let go of Nimmo and McNeil. Let's cut as much salary as possible and then not bring anybody in.
So,
Um,
what
and
I'm
then Bo.
wondering is like if the MLB, front office game, if you want to call it, a game, follow me
Yeah.
here. If that's like 3D shogi, you know, and Stearns thinks that he's playing 3D chess, but he's not even playing the right game,
Oof.
you know, that's kind of how it feels to me. I mean, we're in January. He finally makes something happen. It's 42 million a year AAV. No deferred money. Bo has opt-outs.
So many opt-outs.
Bo has full no trade clause. I
So
mean,
many
this
opt-outs.
is a darling deal for Bo. Now I will say with where they are now, and you contextualize it with the fact that they've missed out on opportunities, it's not a tragic signing because they're in such a bad situation. So, given that they're in a bad situation and they haven't, met the needs and really found substantial solutions, and we're halfway through January,
Hmm.
they kind of had to make this deal. My point is, they kind of did this to themselves, where they sat too long and overplayed their hand, and they were probably a little bit too conservative, and that's how you end up paying 42 million undeferred, full no trade, opt
Yep.
outs. I mean, I never seen a $42 million pillow contract.
That's a good way to put it. And saying that, this is the best they could have done, and they were doing poorly up to this point, and this is like their little saving grace of the season. It sort of feels like you're in the middle of the snowy woods in The Revenant, and you just got mauled by a bear, and now a wolf has come to your campsite, and it like only takes, your last remaining portion of food rather than your foot. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, that's awesome. That's great. That's a huge win. I love my feet. But I don't know if they have much ground to stand on after this because it is just another sign of bad things to come, and these things tend to accelerate. When you sign one bad contract, that echoes, right? It obviously is opportunity cost, and it sends a ripple through the franchise when Cohen, I'll spend whatever it takes to get whomever. You drop the big Soto deal, and then you just don't follow it up with anything. Instead, you let go of some franchise favorites that you had signed. Like Nimmo was just he had gotten the big contract for an outfielder. I remember there was talk a couple years ago when Tucker was about to walk and be a free agent.
Yep.
And they were like, well, if Nimmo got this, Tucker's gonna get that. And that's not me just trying to segue to Kyle Tucker. We'll get to him in a moment, but this does feel like more bad things coming. Love Bo Bichette. He'll look so good in Mets colors. But
real quick, three moves basically. So you're trading Nimmo for Simeon. You're knocking the years off the financial liability. Probably getting a worse player in Simeon, where
correct.
the power's diminished, the offense is diminished, defense usually doesn't age well. And then your second move is Polo. What was it? 2 years, 40 million. It's probably a little rich for a guy like that. A little bit of helium with Polo because of the playoffs. Then your third move is Bo. And you're paying taxes on these guys too, by the way. You're paying luxury taxes as well. So, how would you grade Stearns so far in this offseason?
I think he's an F minus because you didn't just lose Nimmo. I'm serious. You didn't lose Nimmo and McNeil. You also watched Polar Bear Pete go to the Orioles.
How can you let Polar Bear Pete go?
Well, I mean, you said it when you said Polo. It's just like that's a nice little diptych right there. You let Polo in, you let Polar out, and I think when you're bringing in Polo, he's riding high from the M's, and I feel like that was an anomaly for his career. I think it's a career high. It is a career high. He had the knee injury a couple of years. Look, we can get into the minutia, but like the point stands as an F minus because you've lost the Mets identity.
Yeah.
And you've brought in worse players, and then you panic by Bo. And if Bo gets injured or underperforms, you're on the hook for 40 million AAV. So what are you going to do next year, right? It's like, I guess Cohen's just made of money or something, but
it does seem odd to get rid of the guys who have a plus clubhouse presence, right?
That's what I'm getting at. The bringing in Bo, it's not that Bo isn't a clubhouse guy. He clearly is. He put the team on his back for the Jays, hit the 3-run bomb with the broken kneecaps. Love Bo. Can't stress that enough. Bo's got the flow. We love Bo. But it's Stearns' message he's sending. And I don't know if that's his fault. If Cohen is trying to talk him down from going over the luxury tax and he's doing the best he can, kind of like a Dana Brown, Jim Crane situation. But look at that as a comp. Dana shined. Dana struck early, but he didn't strike early by paying a premium. He struck early by threading the needle perfectly. The only thing you could say about Dana is he waited too long on selling Paredes, and the Bregman to Cub. We got a lot to get to, but it's interesting, like the GM game here going on this offseason. Who's the winner? Who's the loser? I think Dana Brown might be the winner of the winter, and Stearns might be the sole loser.
Yeah, I mean, holding out a Paredes might not end up being the worst thing in the world because so there's a few
$9
pieces
million only.
Also with Paredes, teams know that he can only play in a couple parks and put up the numbers that he's putting up. So, and we saw that at Wrigley, right? So does Boston want him? If they do, it works. But there's only a few teams of the right dimensions in left field where it makes sense for Paredes.
Yeah,
because
sure.
he's not crushing the ball, right? He hits the ball just far enough for a few stadiums where it's off the wall or it's over the wall. And the Crawford boxes make a lot of sense. Jordan is constantly hurt. So it's not as though Paredes won't have any utility. I get what you're saying, and I do think if they can get market value for him, they probably should move him. I think the issue is you're not getting market value for him because there's only 3 parks where he's going to hit 30 homers.
Yeah. The bat
And
speed's
so,
terrible. It's like 10th
yeah.
percentile.
And so
Yeah.
you're a little boxed in, right? You're basically waiting for Craig Breslow to call you up and say you up. So it's
WID,
just tough.
WYD question mark.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you wearing right now? I'm wearing my Isaac Paredes jersey. I need to sell him as soon as possible. I mean, the fun thing about Paredes though is he's like the guy and he's like the sidekick in the film that one might put on like the trading card for the fandom is like technically useless skills wise. No knock on Paredes, he's an awesome player. But the way that they fit into the team is just perfect. He is like a weird keystone in Houston. Something about dude, he fits the vibe. The Altuve, Pena,
I hear you.
the Hispanic vibe, the Crawford boxes. Paredes is a goat. He was an all-star last year. The fun thing though is you just can't flip Walker. So do the Mets pivot and get their DH in Walker? Because Cohen's got money. He can spend 20 mil. Go get you some Christian Walker, Cohen.
Yeah, you're not going to eat that whole contract though. I mean, and also you already have if you're Cohen, you already have Polanco at first.
Yeah, Polo's playing first already, right?
You do
But I
have
mean,
Vientos. You do have Vientos DHing, so I mean maybe you could fit Walker in, but Vientos is a righty as well, right? So I don't. I think it's an either or situation. Also, Vientos was kind of exposed for not being able to hit breaking pitching. You can't hit
mm,
sliders, can't hit curveballs. So yeah, the guy mashes fastballs, but and yeah, he's okay with the off speed. But if you can't hit breaking stuff, like you're done, man. Can throw I can throw you three sliders and you're out of the at bat.
before we
And
move on
it
from the Mets,
yeah.
just one thing real quick. Would you mind with your insight and crystal ball tell the audience if you were to be generous and say David Stearns is playing the right game. He's playing chess. What's the one move that he could make or reasonably would make? What would be your prediction for him to make before the season begins?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I forgot the fourth and fifth move. I wasn't thinking about the bullpen, by the way. They did add Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, but
That's cool.
again, yeah, I mean, it's cool. I don't really think it affects like the nucleus of the team, but I do think that'll pay off, especially if Devin Williams finds his form again and doesn't
Sure.
have a 50% strand rate. But yeah, on the Mets, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, if he was going to make a move where I'd say, okay, I see where you're going, that move would be to get Fromber.
Wow.
Yep.
I can see Fromber having a nice battery mate thing with Francisco Alvarez hardcore.
Yep.
Like Fromber would do the I'm going to throw at your chest protector that he did to Cesar. And then I can see Alvarez at the end of the game just like throwing him up against the lockers and like putting the fear of God into him. And then they just end up like blood brothers after that.
Hey, I mean that's a possible arc for sure. So, yeah, I think the Mets will be willing to give the higher AAV. The thing about Stearns is Stearns doesn't typically like giving the years, which is why I think the Mets have lost out on a couple of free agents.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's possible that they've been reticent to give longer term deals because of Cohen, but that's really Stearns' reputation, and his resume is more short term high AV deals when he has the resources to do so. And so I really do think that that's played into them losing on a couple of these guys, especially since they don't seem to be willing to match the Dodgers with certain offers. Like
Sure.
my guess is they weren't willing to match for Kyle Tucker. Maybe they were though, and they were the leverage. That's a significant possibility that Tucker was just using the Mets or he was
Mm,
using Boras always uses other teams, and that the Blue Jays have been
Yeah, Kyle Tucker.
Unfortunately, on the losing end for the last, 3 or 4 years, every time Scott Boras is negotiating, we think someone's going to the Blue Jays and then they're not. And it's not just Boras. I mean, Otani used the Blue Jays too.
I remember the start of Hot Stove. It was like the headline might as well have been Kyle Tucker's in a Hawaiian shirt and a Tommy Bahama beach recliner sitting outside of the Toronto Blue Jays spring training facility. He wasn't, turns out, and he's a Dodger. There it is. Sawdust voice cracked. Kyle Tucker's in Dodger blue this year. He'll look good. He's gonna do
Yeah,
his
Tucker's
little dance.
Tucker's not Boras actually, but I do think he negotiated with the Jays. And I think Cody Bellinger is another one, which is a Scott Boras client.
Mm.
Uh, I think Scott's overplaying his hand with the Yankees with
With
Bellinger.
Belly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's varying reports, but if they're willing to give him 5 years, 150 ish, maybe 5 years, 160, whatever it is.
That's
I
great.
mean,
Take it.
man, that's a sweet deal if you're Cody Bellinger.
That's
And
a sweet
remember,
deal.
Boris drags these things out. Bellinger had to go through this one time where he went through that whole off season. Where am I going? Where am I playing? What's going on? Do you want to do that again when you could just take 150 something? I don't know.
And what's Belly now, like 32, 31?
Yeah. Yeah, he's in
Yeah.
his 30s, I mean,
Brother.
I don't know. You get to a
Brother.
point. You get to a
Yeah.
point, right?
That's
Man,
a
do
lot
I,
of
do I want to be a
typhoid.
week away from spring training and not know where I'm going?
Do you think that's
Or
what happened to Jaymont? Like, do you really? I feel like that was the end of Jordan Montgomery.
I think it was I think Scott Boras ruined bro. I mean
I do too. Yeah.
Montgomery never got the big deal, obviously. The wheels came off. And I actually do think that it was a butterfly effect and a lot of things had to happen, or a domino effect even, where a lot of things had to happen for everything to go so poorly for Jamont. But he was used very heavily in that World Series, the 2023 World Series.
Oh yeah.
But so is Eovaldi. And I mean, Eovaldi's two-time Tommy J guy. He's fine. I mean, Eovaldi was dominant this year.
Yeah. It's a
So
mental thing for Jaymont, I think. With regarding the World Series usage, where you go balls to the wall, the shortest offseason you've had in recent memory as a player, all this hype, hottest, brightest stage, brightest lights,
right,
and and then you win. Boris drags it out so that you might as well have missed spring training, and with pitchers with no time to ramp up, you expose yourself. So he starts the season injured, in the desert, and away we go. It's like that was really
yeah.
it, and that was it. So Scott Boras killed Jamont's career.
Well,
Balling out for the
remember,
homie.
you know, it's important to add the perspective for pitching versus hitting, where hitters need what, a week or two to get ready.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Um,
like right.
Pitching's different, and when you're coming off a heavy usage postseason like that, I mean, he really needed that spring training, and he just got burned. I mean, got burned bad, and I think it affected Boris's business a little bit. I mean, he's so entrenched and ingratiated in the business that he's fine. If that happened to an agent who was less dominant in the space, like,
Right.
it would have been much more damaging to
Correct.
take a guy the whole way. He doesn't get the deal that he wants. And remember, he did the same thing with Blake Snell, and Snell was awful for a couple months, and then he was unreal after the All-Star break. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, he was borderline unpitchable for a couple months, right? Is this even Blake Snell, or
Oh,
is
I
this the
remember. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the Blake Snell like roller coaster. You get him in fantasy
yeah.
baseball for the first half, and you're like, God damn it! And then then you look
Yeah.
up, and like, you're like, oh, I forgot to like care about fantasy baseball. Who's winning the league? Oh, the guy that had picked up Blake Snell off waivers.
Yep. Exactly. So, let's talk three-team trade.
Okay.
The Josh Lau to the Angels, Gavin Lux to the Rays,
Hmm.
Chris Clark to the Halos, or I'm sorry, to the Rays from the Halos, and then Brock Burke to the Reds. What do you think?
Whenever the Tampa Bay Rays get somebody in a trade, I pay attention. That's just a rule. Gavin Lux is cool. You know, he flashed out a little bit in Los Angeles. I think he got the yips, actually.
Did
That's why
he
they moved
flash out or
Mookie.
crash out?
What does flash out mean?
I don't know. You're the one who said flash out.
I know.
Is flash out different than crash out?
Is it like flash in a pan? Flash out. Flash out.
Is flash in the pan the same thing as flash out though?
Okay,
I don't
to
know.
flash out is to get highly upset with another person. This may lead to an altercation.
So Gavin has anger issues.
I just like need to learn how to talk, actually. So news
No,
resolution.
I was just asking because I didn't know what we were talking about. For
No,
a
you're
second.
good. I was so colloquially, I was like flash out. A star burning up quickly. He
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's
I got you.
yeah. Okay.
I got it.
We're good.
I got
Yeah,
it.
We're good. And it turns out that's not what that means at all. So I learned something new, and I might as well have said crash out, but he did neither. And I think he got the yips. That's why Mookie got pulled to short. But
You know,
yeah, that's just an adage I've
you're
heard
right.
that when the Rays
Well-
get somebody good, you got to pay attention. Go ahead.
Gavin was tried in spring at short, right? Wasn't he like atrocious?
Yeah.
So he was coming off. He like tore his ACL the prior year in 23, right?
I think it was a freak accident in spring training, if I recall.
Something like
correctly.
that.
Yeah.
But then the following year, he was working out at short. And they're like, maybe Gavin could play short, and then we can keep Mookie over here. And then it became apparent that we couldn't put Gavin at short, you know. And then Mookie had to carry the infield on his back. But
Absolutely.
you know, a lesser known fact about Gavin: Kenosha, Wisconsin native,
Whoa.
2x World Series champion from Kenosha. So that's probably the highlight of his career is the 2 rings, but I mean that's what it's all about, right? Ring culture.
What do you think about this 3-team trade? I wasn't that familiar with most of the names. Obviously, Josh Lau and Gavin Lux, but what's going on here in your mind? Are the Halos making moves?
Yeah. So with Lau, I think it's Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe, right? Josh Lowe. I think it's Lau and Lowe. So
Yep,
I think
nailed it.
Josh Lowe. I mean, he's got what 3 years of team control, so 6, 7, 8, yeah. So you're getting 3 years of Lowe for, you're only getting 1 year of Lux from the Reds, and then Brock Burke, you're getting 5 and 6. You're getting 2 years. So it's hard not to see if you think that Lowe is a major league hitter and the crash out in 25. See that? The crash out in 25 is a fluke. Then I think the Angels win the deal because you're getting 3 years of the guy.
Yeah, for sure. For
The Reds are getting 2 years of a reliever, a lefty reliever.
Yeah.
The Rays, I'm guessing, they think they can do something with this Clark kid, would be my guess. Because otherwise, frankly, I don't really get the trade. Chris Clark, Harvard alum, a Cambridge kid.
You know what I'd love to do for a career?
What's that?
I would love to be like a software engineer for the data science team of the Tampa Bay Rays, just to see
That'd be based.
just to see what it's like, because seriously, every time they make a move, it's like so calculated.
I know we should all be studying their strategies so that we could just live life through Ray's strategy, you know.
I know last time we were talking about like how when the time portal closed, Peter Bendix was given $70 million to spend the most fruitful way possible he could think to save humanity, unbeknownst to humanity. And he chose GM of the Miami Marlins, which is very interesting. Good for him. It'll definitely be unbeknownst to us. But then you look at this move, and the Rays getting minor leaguer Chris Clark, Gavin Lux. We know Lux means light. we love the heavenly beams that shine in Tampa. St. Pete's a beautiful place, wonderful architecture. You know, you're right there by the Gulf Coast. Shout out seafood, Royal Red Shrimp. I kind of feel like that South Park episode when the guys, when the scientists are like, shrimp, small things, all the small things. Blink 182, that's right. It's like they're just like making these random associative memory jumps. Kind of feel like doing that bit right now. But the Rays data team, it's just like every single guy is just this little weight in this universe-sized regression equation that is holding up the fabric of the cosmos, along with God's hands. Like the Rays data science team is the sinews in the phalanges of God's hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we brought it home.
Yeah. You landed the plane.
It took a minute. Yeah, we had some turbulence there for a sec. It's late.
So let me ask you a heavy question here, Johnny. Do you think that we're looking at a lockout after this season when the CBA expires? What is that, December 1, 26? And if you do think there's a lockout coming, what's your remedy? What's your elixir to make sure that we start ball on time, April 2027?
So before we get into it, let's go over last collective bargaining agreement terms that really stood out. I think PPI was one of them. So players
Yeah.
having an incentive to jump ARB a little bit to get their payday
Su-
faster.
Super
Yeah.
2. So Super 2 is part of it.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
then so if you win, like if you win Rookie of the Year, you get a year of service, for example.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
Paul Skeens is a good example of that.
That's right. Yep. What about salaries for like league minimum salaries and minor league pay? Wasn't there an amendment to minor league pay?
It got bumped, yeah. I mean, right now we're at so they did bump some minor league pay, but they also restructured the minor leagues where there's less levels and
Mm,
consolidated some things because major league orgs and the billionaire class of the MLB doesn't want liabilities to change, and so they kind of look at it like, well, okay, if you're going to make me pay more for my minor league teams, then I
mm,
want to have less of them.
got it. And
Was kind of my takeaway.
not to get sidetracked, but this is kind of another vector here is the NIL changes in college plus, you look at a team like LSU, right? And you go watch an LSU baseball game in the springtime and it's like you're watching AAA baseball because now the players that are playing there, they may take 1.5 years tops in the minors until you see them in the show. Whereas I feel like earlier, before, going from college to the minors, it takes longer to get there. I just feel like something about college has gotten better, like the state of the art training, the facilities, and then you add in the NIL with the restructuring. Guys might have an incentive to hang around there longer. Anyway, just weird stuff going on with the minor leagues.
I agree with that. I think we're seeing that trend.
CBA, I don't know. What do you think?
So I'm pulling up some of these differences because we remember the salary going up a little bit, the pre-R bonus pools, the minor league pay changing, competitive balance, tax threshold CBT. So it goes up between 3 to 4 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So for 2026, we're looking at 244 million. Is that soft cap, if you will? I'm sure the owners will want a hard cap. The players union is going to want a salary floor or a percentage of revenue spent even. So meaning, okay, so yeah, the Marlins make less revenue, no problem. However, you have to spend at least this minimum percentage
Gotcha.
on your payroll, right? So for example, the Marlins have an active payroll of 60 million right now for 2026. With ARB, it'll bump up to 70 or whatever it's projected for. But regardless, I mean, that's ridiculous. No, I mean, the Marlins should be doing at least 150% of the collective bargaining revenue, which they're not doing, which technically is out of step with league policy, but the other owners have to file grievances and it gets a little convoluted. which is why I think we just need to have a hard and fast rule for it, where it's easy to follow, easy to enforce, right? Because if we have these rules and these laws, let's say, that are difficult to enforce, then they're really just guidelines if they're unenforceable. We need
Hmm.
enforceable rules.
Okay. Peter Bendix, Bo Bichette, Juan Soto Shuffle Dance. That's my A team. They'd come in with an attack helicopter, rappel by ropes on the field during game time, and just start enforcing the CBA.
I mean,
That'd be
honestly,
hot.
Johnny, what if Peter Bendix and Bo and Steve Cohen are all on the same team
Mm,
because Peter is a double agent for Steve?
brother, this is like some multiverse shit.
I'm just saying. I mean, he really keeps that Marlins payroll low, right? He doesn't sign any good players, man. It it
He's
does
in
it
cahoots.
does yeah, it does look a little bit suspicious, but yeah, no, I really do think we need a kind of salary floor, even if it's a percentage of revenue. The players union also wants a bigger cut of the money that Major League Baseball is making.
Hmm.
So we're going to see this dance of the owners will say that they're all losing money. The players will say you're making more money than you ever have, and they're going to have to meet somewhere in the middle. So
Yeah, we need the truth to come out. I think it would be really helpful for people to see numbers and graphs and be like, this is an unbiased report into the CBA of the players have valid questions and the owners are doing very well. And also look at the counter effects of like, media and, TV networks and taxes and inflation and put that all through the meat grinder and see what comes out the other side. I wonder what it would be like. I think there's a little proletarian somewhere deep within me from my youth that tends to side with the players. Just I really like the movie Eight Men Out, and I really empathize with Shoeless Joe. That's what I'm
man,
saying.
that's
Yeah,
a really interesting avatar, proletariat Johnny,
yeah.
adolescent
I
proletariat.
misspoke. I misspoke. I'm definitely I'm not a commie. I really I'll say this. I'm not a commie, but I didn't like Charles Comiskey and how he treated his boys. I didn't like that one bit.
Yeah, the Chicago Black Sox, that's a tough one. I mean, especially,
Such a good movie, dude. Oh my God.
bro didn't have shoes and he got paid to throw games. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not saying I would throw games. I wouldn't, but it's kind of hard to imagine not having shoes in Chicago and still hitting over 300.
Dude, David Straighthairn, I think
Like,
that's how you say his name. He played Ed Cicotti or Eddie Cicotte,
okay.
something. I think it's
Yeah.
Cicotti. And my dad and I would like read these old historical baseball books growing up. Ken Burns docs, and we made up our own card game and everything. And so I was very infatuated with the dead ball era players. Cicotti was interesting. He was college educated and played on the diamond, which was like a big deal at the time. So he was always. I feel like a side note, if people want to watch a good baseball movie, Eight Men Out might be one of the best. You have Ed Cicotti plays his role of like the aloof college educated guy that stays out of the betting with the mobsters very well. Shoeless Joe's fantastic. John Cusack, I believe, is even in that, right? Yeah, yeah. John Cusack's
Oh,
in that.
I don't think I've seen it. I'll have
Oh,
to
you
watch
got
that.
to. Yeah, absolutely.
The question though that I have for you is, would you hit 350 with no shoes?
Yeah.
No problem, right?
Oh yeah, dude. Because it's like the Earthbender Toph in Avatar. I gotta
Yeah,
feel. I gotta
yeah,
feel the earth beneath my feet to know what pitch is coming.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't need trash cans. I just need earthbending feet. With CBA stuff, there's one thing I wanted to ask you. Maybe help our listeners out a little bit. Something I've never understood, and you definitely do. I think you should know this. Is
Okay.
what? That was a weird challenge. I meant to say I'm confident you will. Is what happens when like poor teams like the Marlins don't make a lot, and rich teams have a luxury tax. Does that money go into like the monopoly board free parking, and then who gets it? How does that all work out?
Yeah, so there's a pool where, for example, like the Rays and the Marlins are getting a piece of the revenue that teams like the Yankees and Dodgers are making. So it's like corporate not cronyism, corporate socialism, I guess you could say. It's like, yeah, it's a redistribution of wealth. So, I mean, what else would you call it?
Is it significant? Like where they almost have an incentive to be the wily Rays with the data science department that stays poor?
Yeah,
Like
I mean it's enough. I mean, and what we've been seeing is that teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Nutting family, for example, seem to be
what a name.
using yeah, seem to be using that revenue as a way to basically just guarantee themselves like a decent EBITDA for the organization when in actuality, that revenue is supposed to be meant to increase competitiveness because teams like the Yankees and Dodgers are essentially paying, they're paying taxes, right?
Wow. So you're
Which is
saying
then
welfare, even in corporate structures of the MLB, incentivizes people to
corporate
do
welfare.
nothing. Yeah.
Corporate welfare. Now, there are rules attached to that, though. So, yeah, you're supposed to spend 150%, whatever number you receive, which
Hmm.
is why, and you cannot do that 1 year and it'll go by not unnoticed, but unenforced. When you do it multiple years, owners file grievances against you, other owners, which is what the A's were looking at last year. So you notice that, oh, they extended Brent Rooker. Oh, they got Luis Severino because they had to spend that money. They had to get above a certain number
Got
to
it.
avoid a lawsuit, essentially.
So you're
Uh,
saying in that if they didn't get hit with the lawsuits or the grievances, we could say, oh, the A's are just intentionally staying poor to, lap up the trickled down tax money from the luxury tax.
Historically, that's been the game that John Fisher's played for a while. Yeah,
Wow.
and he's not the only one. The Marlins and the Rays are in a similar bucket. Cleveland as well.
One thing I want to hit before we do wrap up is we're not even trying to bury the lead. I just feel like we've been having fun yucking ball. And Kyle Tucker is
Yucking.
a Dodger. Mentioned that a little bit earlier on. The deal is large, oddly short amount of years, high AAV. What's with that with the Dodgers? But Kyle Tucker's a Dodger. Like Kyle Tucker's a Dodger.
Yeah. So tax payroll 414, tax bill 162, $576 million total. So that's their tax payroll plus their tax bill is almost 600 million. It's pretty incredible. They're 116 million dollars over the Mets, who are number two at 461. In the Marlins, just to give you some context, their $0 tax bill plus their tax payroll amounts to 101 million. So the Dodgers are spending 6x what the Marlins are spending.
Wow. That's actually lower than I would have imagined. What do you think about this signing, though? Tucker's going to go to the outfield and he'll probably bounce back because everyone becomes better in LA. What's what does this mean? I mean,
Yeah.
do we have to do the obligatory? What does this mean for baseball? What's happening? Because we used to do this with the Dodgers, and they just like wouldn't show up in the playoffs, and now they just run the World Series.
Well, they're 7-1 favorites right now to win the NL West, and
Okay, yeah,
that's highly unusual to have that heavy of a tilt toward a team without having played any games at all. I mean,
it's
seven
true.
to ones,
Pretty
7-1
remarkable.
is pretty wild, right? I mean, yeah, that implied probability is what 12.5%. So 12.5% chance that the Dodgers don't win, rather. So yeah, pretty crazy. Tucker's gonna hit fourth. It looks like behind Shohei, Mookie, Freddie. Uh,
That's crazy.
yeah. So you got at least four likely Hall of Famers there. You got Will Smith 5. Max 6, Teo 7, Tommy 8, Pages 9. And then you got a bench with Andy lefty mashing Ibanez, Miggy World Series hero Rojas, Alex Call, and Dalton rushing, who has been, a top 50 prospect for a couple years now, and he can't even get playing time on this team. So
That's crazy. What's it like being a prospect in the Dodgers system? You're just like a expensive trade chip / wasting away in Margaritaville.
I
That's
mean, you can't say it, but I think a lot of times you kind of want to be traded. Right?
totally.
Because I mean, think about it. If you're 24, 25 years old, like Dalton is, he's turning 25. And I mean, he did have a 38% K rate last year, but let's put that aside for a moment. And and you're a promising young catcher, who doesn't have a 38% K rate, I guess. And you're behind Will Smith, right? I mean, you're not replacing Will Smith. So, and you lose most of your value if you come out from behind the plate and you get thrown in left field. I mean, you're losing like half your value. The value is that you can catch. So there's one job out there for you, and the other guy has it. So do you not want to get traded in that situation?
Mm,
You do, right?
absolutely. Well, I think I want to end on a little bit of a happier note, just because I mean, I'm happy for Dodgers fans that I know and love. Good for you.
It's a little bit of a downer, we can say it.
It's a little, yeah, sure. A little bit of an upper is the Red Sox pivot to Ranger. Ranger gets some money. He leaves the Phils to an even colder place. The Red Sox say, hey, you know what? Hold my Sam Adams. The Minutemen, the shot heard around the world. We don't need offense. Let's just let Raffy go. Let's let Bregman go. Screw it. We're going to be a pitching team. Cool. Good for you guys. And obviously we talked about that affects, the Astros plans and Dana's chess moves. But we'll see what happens with his end game. I think the Astros have a couple moves left to make. But Rangers are Red Sox, and that pitching staff is pretty. Are there bats to back it up? Are we looking for Anthony to have like a bomb breakout year, or what are we looking forward to in terms of guys at the plate?
So that's the whole thing, right? Is I think when you talk to a lot of casual fans, they think that free agent contracts are bad and not smart.
Mm,
We've almost overcompensated where 20 years ago you always wanted your team to sign good players, like you wanted them to get Jason Giambi. You wanted them to get Johnny Damon, And
well
that
said.
and then we got into this era of, oh, I don't want him to sign Albert Pujols. I mean, that contract was a little silly, but you get my point. Like, oh, I don't want that former MVP because in year 8, et cetera, et cetera. But in
Right.
reality, what happens is when you aren't willing to spend money, you put way more pressure on your development programs, your farm system, and the margin for error is just much, much lower. Where, instead of Roman Anthony being able to be a 110 WRC plus guy and your season's fine, well, now you need Roman to be a hero if they don't add any guys here,
Yeah.
because they haven't done enough for this offense. Like, I like Contreras, but he rarely plays more than 120 games a year. He doesn't catch anymore, and he was basically a salary dump for Hein Bloom. I think he'll be productive, don't get me wrong. But I don't think that's a transaction for the Red Sox to hang their hat on getting Wilson Contreras. So, we'll see. I do like the Ranger move, the 5 years, 130. 130 is probably a little high. That's 26,
5 years is a little
20
high.
26 a year for a guy with it'll be a little bit of a case study, if you will, on the modern day, because this guy throws a 90-mile-an-hour sinker, and
Mm,
that's the pitch, right? It's that sinker. And then he's got that change, he's got the cutter. But I mean, he doesn't really have the stuff that typically a guy getting 130 million would have. He doesn't
he's
have
got
it.
health. He's got health.
He's durable, and he's got command, and he knows how to pitch. So it's a war of philosophies, though. No, Johnny. I mean, 130 million to a guy like this, it gives me optimism and it warms my heart because I do think that we've also swung the pendulum a little too far on. Well, if the guy doesn't have, this vert and this RPM,
Right.
then I don't want to pay him, And I think
Wow.
we've lost sight of the bigger picture a little bit. So
There is the deep cut. I was waiting for like, what is it gonna be tonight? And on the ending note of the pod, we get
now
the
we're there.
deep cut, the hot take deep cut, dude. The
Well, now
little-
I landed the plane, Johnny.
It's amazing. It's cool to hear you talk about it that way because I think that intuitively clicks with me and hopefully our listeners that like there is a little bit of a fuzzy, sitting around the hearth, letting your cold wool socks dry out after the hot stove of wintertime. And when you think about like a low miles per hour durable control-ish sinker baller, I think he's a lefty too.
Yep.
There's just getting this fatty contract. It's harkening back to old times. And for Red Sox Nation, for those in the chilly north, I will leave you with this. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on Roman Anthony to be more than 110 WRC plus hitter, right? But what would you do if you took Jason Varitek, third baseman of yore, Bill Miller, and Dustin Pedroia, former second baseman, all Red Sox Nation, and put them in a blender? You would probably get Christian Walker. And if you got Christian Walker to hit home runs, honestly though, dude, Christian Walker would look so dang good in the home uni in Fenway Park. It's been wonderful, everyone. Thank you for coming to another edition of the Painting Corners Baseball Podcast. We got articles now coming left and right from our new collab series working with guest writers. So if you want to write for your favorite team or anything you're passionate about related to baseball, please contact us. Painting-corners.com. You can see our hot takes every single day. And we're all over social media, Threads, Blue Sky, X, you name it. So come give us a follow. Please hit the bell for notifications on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to your podcast. We really appreciate it. It helps drive that algorithm, which, hey, that's the tempo we're all dancing to, so we can keep this content coming.
They're talking about it all, listening to Painting Corners, Painting Corners, a baseball podcast with insights for you. Listening to Painting Corners.